Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students, peace and mercy be upon you, and welcome to our online classes for eng202. Today we'll have the final revision or the golden hours. Okay, we are going to concentrate mainly on the writing tasks, and we have just a simple reading task as well. Let me remind you of the online learning rules. Please sit in a quiet place and listen carefully to the teacher. Get ready and mute your mic and turn off your camera, and if you have any question, just raise your hand to answer. Right, our objectives today, just we are going to scan a reading text to answer the questions, and then we are going to revise or define the layout for the writing topics, and then finally we are going to have some samples for the writing models. Right, now we start with a sample reading task which is about the Sphinx. Right, read the text carefully and get ready to answer the questions. Alright, anybody to read question number 1 and answer? If you have started from the beginning with us. Here we have a text which is about the Sphinx, and here we have some questions related to the text. Try to find the answer for this question. Why was the Sphinx carved on this shape? Why does the Sphinx have the head of a man and the body of a lion? According to the text, it is a combination which suggests strength and wisdom. Let's move to the second question. What caused the nose damage? What caused the nose damage of the Sphinx? If we move to the second paragraph, we'll find it is the unfortunate victim of invading soldiers' target practice. And here we come to the third question. Why was the Sphinx built? So reading the text carefully will help you find the answers. Reading the text twice will help you to understand more the text. So why was the Sphinx built? According to the text, to guard significant places. Question number 4. How do the Egyptians feel toward the Sphinx? You will find in the text, to the Egyptians, the Sphinx represents the essence of their country's magnificent culture. These are the last 2 lines. Alright, about the vocab, here you have the underlined words erosion, serpent, legendary, and essence. Alright, we have to match the definitions on the right with the words in the text. A, unbelievable, like all the myth. It is the word legendary. Legendary, this is unbelievable, أسطورة, like all the myth. A large snake, this is what we call serpent. Serpent. The most important part of something, so we say it is the essence. The essence. So here the Sphinx is one of the most important parts of the ancient Egyptian civilization, the essence of the civilization. Find the word which means destruction because of wind, rain, and sun. So this is erosion. So here just I'd like to remind you of how to work on a reading text. Reading the text carefully twice, 3 times, until you understand it fully, and then refer back to the questions, try to find the suitable paragraph for the answering, and so on. Now let's go to the main point of our lesson today, that is the writing topics. To remind you of the main writing topics that we have to cover today, we have for Module 7, Product Report, for Module 8, Formal and Informal Email, for Module 9, Describing a Process, for Module 10, Describing a Trend or Chart, 11, you have Festival Report, and finally for Module 12, that is Cause and Effect Essay. So you need to revise carefully these 6 modules of these 6 writing tasks: Product Report, Formal and Informal Email, Describing a Process, Describing a Trend, Festival Report, and Cause and Effect Essay. Now we'll start with the first topic, that is a product report. What is a product report writing? It is a kind of comparison between 2 devices. You write a report comparing between 2 smart TVs, for example, or you write a report comparing between 2 laptops, 2 headphones, 2 digital cameras, and so on. So here you are given a table like this with the information that you are going to write. Write a product report comparing the smart TVs in the table and recommend one of them for the company. You are given a table with the information. Here you are comparing between LG Smart TV and Samsung Smart TV. You are comparing about them according to the criteria of the price, color and weight, connectivity, display and rating, and any other smart features. And after you make comparison between the 2 devices or the 2 TV sets, you finally give your recommendations. Which one would you recommend for the company? Right? So here you have to refer back to the table, which would help you to write the product report. You are given a table of the information and then you write your product report. Now let's have the layout. How to write a product report. We start first with a subheading introduction. Remember that you have to write the subheading. لازم في البرودكت ريبورت تكتب العناوين الفرعية، يبقى في عنوان فرعي introduction, and then you write your introduction. In the introduction, you are introducing the report. You have to mention who asked it for the report, or who requested it, and what is the aim of this report. According to the table that we have already shown, we can say that at the request of Mr. Muhammad Ahmad, for example, the manager of the company, this report aims at comparing LG and Samsung smart TVs and recommend one of the models to be purchased by the company. Right? So here we are comparing between 2 different brands, LG and Samsung, for smart TVs. As I mentioned, it can be about any other devices, as we say about Dell laptop and Lenovo laptop, for example. It can be about 2 digital cameras, Canon and Sony. It can be about 2 headphones, and so on. So you are comparing about 2 devices or 2 different items. Okay, you have to mention in the introduction who requested the report. Okay, and then what is the aim of the report? At the request of the manager of the company, this report aims at comparing 2 digital cameras, Sony and Canon, and recommends one of the models to be purchased by the company. So you have to write the introduction. After the introduction, you start comparing between the 2 devices. You write the subheading, price, for example, and then you compare the price. There is a clear price difference between the 2 models. The LG Smart TV costs 250 PD, for example, whereas the Samsung model costs 300 PD. So here we have 50 dinars difference between the price. And then you come to comparing the size and weight in the same way, getting the information from the table. The two models are similar in size. Both are about saying 45-inch and so on, but they are quite different in weight. The Sony model, the LG model weighs about 7 kilograms. However, the as we say, the Samsung model weighs about 10 kilograms. So here you are comparing according to the information given in the table, right? Don't forget to write the subheading. It's very important to write the subheading when you are making comparison between the two models, the two devices. After comparing the price and size and weight, you come to the design. You mention the difference in design between the two models. Both are sleek and stylish design. Both are attractive and elegant. But it is clear that LG got 5-star rating while Samsung TV got 3-star rating, or vice versa. It depends on the information given in the table. After that, you can compare the colors, which are the available colors for each of the devices. Following this, you come to any other special features, talking about the sound system in both devices or TV sets, right? And then you talk about the battery life. You talk about the body, whether it is waterproof or heat resistant, its durability, okay? And then you talk about how affordable is it? Is it a good value for money? Is it expensive, and so on? So here you talk about the features that you are going to compare about. And finally, this is the most important point, that is the conclusion with recommendations. You have to mention, okay, which one would you recommend for your company? You have to mention which one would you recommend for your company. It's very important. The company should purchase the Sony model as it is the best quality. It is built for strength and durability. Moreover, it is futuristic and has the latest technology in the market with reasonable price. You can use this conclusion with any of the writing tasks. So you can use this, yes, conclusion with any of the product reports. Is it clear, my dear students, for writing the product report? You have to sign the report and then write the date for writing the report as well. Right, so this is how to write a product report or the layout. You can be given a question like this, right? You are given 2 digital cameras, and this is the question with the table of information. The manager of World Travel Company has asked you to write a report on 2 top-of-the-range digital cameras, recommending one of them for use in the company. Write the report using the notes in the table. Right, so you are using the notes in the table and write your report. Anyway, here we have a gap filling report. Would like to finish it together. Now for the introduction, if we are comparing between the two digital cameras, we start with at the request of Mr. Fahd Ali, the manager of World Travel. This report compares two top brands of digital cameras and recommends one of the models to be purchased by the company. So this is your introduction. All right. And then you are comparing the price, saying that there is a significant price difference between the two models. The Sony A9 is much cheaper as it is only $2,500, whereas the Canon 1DX costs $3,200. So here we are comparing the price. Don't forget to write the subheading as I mentioned. You have to write the subheading introduction and another subheading that is price, and then you are comparing about the other devices and the other criteria as I mentioned. Now here we go on comparison. بنوصل المقارنات. Here we compare the size and the price of the two cameras. Now talking about the size, there is a slight difference between the two models. Sony A9 is 1 inch smaller than the Canon 1DX. The weight difference shows one of the main advantages of Sony A9 as it weighs 675 grams, while the Canon 1DX is over a kilogram, 1.2 kilograms. Is it clear, my dear students? Do you hear me? Please write on the chat. Now comparing the design for the two cameras, we say that both cameras are attractive and stylish. The Canon 1DX got 5-star rating by customers. Because it is dust and moisture resistant. In contrast, the Sony A9 got 3-star rating as it is waterproof. So here, as I mentioned, you are comparing between the two devices that are given to you. All right. May you continue on your comparison, talking about the performance of each camera. You can talk about the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi for each camera. You can also compare the battery life for each camera. So here, you have to write your subheading as well. It is a big win for Sony A9 when looking at the wireless connectivity. It comes with built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi for the easy sharing of content and remote shooting. The Canon 1DX requires extra wireless adapter to gain this skill. All right, and then we go to the battery life for each camera. Right, saying that Sony has 650 shots, but Canon is a higher. It has 1,210 shots. So here, this is about the battery life for each one. We mentioned that Canon 1DX is able to carry a big battery, which is why it is no surprise that the Canon 1DX will keep shooting for twice as long as Sony A9. Here, as I mentioned, you are comparing the features of each camera. And finally, we come to the last point, that is your recommendations. Which one would you recommend? We say that the World Travel Company should purchase Sony A9 model. Why? Because it is reasonable price, because of its wireless content sharing and futuristic shape or design. It is also built for strength and durability, and above all, a good value for money. So here you mention your recommendations. Which one do you prefer for your company? Okay, is it clear, my dear students, how to write a product report? You have to write subheading and write your paragraph. Subheading price, and you compare the price. Subheading size and weight, and you compare the size and weight. And so on until you come to the last paragraph and give your recommendations. Which one would you prefer for your company? Don't forget to sign your report and write the date, as we have here on the PowerPoint. So this is the first writing task. Now let's move to the second most important writing task, that is formal and informal email. When we are writing an email in general, we have to refer back to the rubric or the question. Why? Because the question will clarify everything for us. We have to know whether we are going to write formal or informal style. We have to know what is the topic that we are going to write about. We have to know the sender and the recipient. Who is the person sending the email? What is the name? Who is the person receiving the email? What is the name? And so on. So the rubric or the question will clarify everything for us. So here, if we are writing an informal email, it is very common to have a heading that is to and the email address of the person that you are writing to. Subject, this is the topic that you are going to tackle or to write about. But it is not common to write it in your final exam. Just start with the greeting. يبقى لما تكون بتكتب ايميل ابدأ على طول من تحية. Hi, hello or dear. ابدأ على طول من الايه formal or informal greeting. التحية اللي هتشتغل عليها. If you write informal email, so we start with hi or hello and the name of the person. Or we can use also dear. After the greeting, we can have an opening phrase like, how are you? Hope you are well. How are things going? Hope everything is okay. So these are very common opening phrase when you are writing an informal email, right? And if you are given an invitation, you can start by thanking him for the invitation, saying thanks for your kind invitation to your birthday party, to your brother's wedding, to your graduation, and so on. So anyway, for an informal email, start with a greeting, hi or hello, and then an opening phrase, and then we come to the topic. For an informal email, my dear students, can be about any social topic, like invitation, like congratulation, like exchanging news with your friends or cousin, or talking to your brother about your studies or your friends. You can talk to your friend about your hobbies and sport that you like. So here the body is about these kind of social issues. When you are writing an informal email, you can start the paragraphs with these words. You can start a paragraph with any way, comma, and write one idea. And then get a new paragraph and write guess what and another idea. If you remember something and you'd like to add, so you can say by the way and get another third idea. So break up your email into short paragraphs. It's very important to have paragraphing in your writing. And then we come to the ending. Keep in touch and tell me your news. See you soon. All the best. Lots of love. Bye for now. And then write your name. This is very common for informal email, right? When you are writing an informal email to your friend, your cousin, your brother, we have some features that you have to keep in mind. First of all, you can drop the subject. What's meant by drop the subject? No need for writing I. You can say, got your email yesterday. Instead of saying, I got your email. You can say, look forward to hearing from you. instead of saying I look forward to. So here, dropping the subject or the pronoun I, this is an informal style. You can use contractions like I have, I am, it did for it would or it had, he is for he is, and so on. You can use also abbreviations for long words like info. Instead of saying information, you can use info, uni for university, prog for program, and app for application. So using contractions in your informal email is very common. Okay, as I mentioned at the beginning of paragraphs, you can use some colloquial expressions. These are very common words that you use in everyday language. So you can start your paragraph with well, you can start your paragraph with anyway or by the way. These are very common in the informal style. You can use simple short sentence like saying here's some info about me, and you will start talking about yourself. Right? So simple sentences, short sentences, very common in the informal style. Using very simple linking like and, but, so. Okay. Make a request with can, or it would be great if. Start your email with the greeting hi or hello, and end your email with lots of love or bye for now. So these are very common for the informal style. Okay. Here we have an example of an informal email about coming to Glasgow. All right. This is one of the friends. He is inviting his friend to come to Glasgow, and he give him some information about what they are going to do there. Okay. Anybody can read the email? Anybody would like to read, my dear students? All right, I'm going to read it. Hi, Kevin. I'm really happy that we will see each other next weekend. Sure, we'll spend a nice time together. Well, we need to plan and or decide what to do on Saturday. We could either take a trip down the River Clyde in a boat. I'm sure you would love the beautiful scenery, or we could go and see a football match. Can you tell me which activity you'd rather do? Anyway, I want your advice about something. I've just started to learn Italian, but I only have 1 hour of lessons every week. Can you give me some advice on how to improve my Italian as quickly as possible? Just one final thing. You told me in your last email that you have a new skateboard. Can you bring it with you to Scotland? I'd love to have a go on it. See you soon. So here we have an example of an informal email. If you look, you will find the informal greeting hi. You will find contractions like I am, well for will, I have, and so on. We will find colloquial expressions well, anyway, just one final thing. So keep them in mind when you are writing an informal email. For the formal style, okay, you start with the formal greeting, dear Mr. John, or dear sir or madam. Okay, this is very important to start with a formal greeting, and you should have the title Mr. and the name, or dear sir or madam. Following this, you come to the body. So you start with dear sir or madam, or dear Mr. and the name, and go direct to the body. Okay, explain what you are going to write about. I am writing to invite you to my graduation party. I'm writing to thank you for your kind present. I'm writing to confirm my attendance for the meeting next month. I just want to apologize about my delay. I just want to complain about the bad quality of the product which I bought from your store. So here, this is the body. Can be about different topics for the formal email. Okay, so try to write about the main topic that you are asked to write about, and keep your message short and to the subject. Finally, finish your email with I look forward to hearing from you. Finish your email with the formal ending, yours sincerely or yours faithfully, and your job title and your signature and full name. This is very common for the formal email. We are talking in general about emails, my dear students, whether formal and informal. So you have to keep the features of the informal style. You have also to keep the features of the formal style. When you are writing a formal style, we do not use any contractions. No, it is not accepted to say I have, or we're, or it is. No, I should say I have, we are, it is. No contractions at all. ما نستخدم اختصارات نهائيا. No colloquial expressions. كلمات الدارجة. Well, anyway, guess what? ما تستخدم في الفورمال. You should write complete sentence. Alright, we should write complete sentence, and sometimes we can use the passive as we say it has been agreed on. Use polite request with could you, or I would be grateful if you could. Use formal linking like however, in addition, although, and so on. They are very common in the formal style. Okay, remember to start a greeting with dear Mr. or dear Sir or Madam. Remember to end your formal email with sincerely or faithfully. If you know the name, finish with sincerely. If you start with dear Sir or Madam, finish with faithfully. Here we have an example of a formal email. This is a kind of arranging for a business meeting, right? And he gives him information about the meeting. Right? Anybody to read? My dear students, we need your participation, please. Anybody to read? All right. I'm going to read the email for you. Dear Mr. Ali, I decided to send you an email instead of calling you on your busy schedule. I am writing to inform you that the monthly meeting will be on Monday, 12th April at Gulf Hotel. Make sure to be there before 9. So when you are inviting somebody, you have to give him more details about the place, date, and time. Okay? So he mentioned the place, Gulf Hotel. Date, 12th April. Time, make sure to be there before 9. Okay, and then he talked about what is going to be discussed in the meeting. They are going to discuss the new project, budget, and the suitable deadline. He asked him for confirmation. Please confirm your attendance by email. Ending the email, I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely, Sulaiman, production manager. So here, this is an example of a formal email. Okay, this is a kind of question for you, my dear students. Okay, write an email to your teacher, Mr. Fahd, thanking him for his effort during the exceptional period of COVID-19 pandemic, and invite him to your graduation party. Your name is Ali. So here from the rubric or the question, we know that we are writing to teacher Fahd. We are writing, we know what is the topic, thanking him and inviting him to your graduation. Your name is Ali. So here you have to use a formal style because you are writing to your teacher. Okay, you have to use the correct tense and break up your email into 2 or 3 paragraphs. Okay, so these are very essential when you are write your email. Okay, read the rubric or the question carefully and then start organize your email in a good way. Here we have a sample or a model answer for this question. So here, as we mentioned, the question said that you have to thank him and you have to invite him. All right. So here we have the email in 2 or 3 paragraphs. Dear Mr. Fahd, this is formal greeting. And then thanking him. I want to express my deepest gratitude for your hard work during the exceptional time of COVID-19 pandemic. You've been an excellent teacher, friend, and a great inspiration for me. And then for inviting him, I'd like to invite you to my graduation party. It'd be in Four Seasons Hotel. The celebration would be on 15th June at 5 p.m. Most teachers, classmates, and friends will be invited. Please confirm your attendance. I would be grateful if you could attend. And then we'll finish with yours sincerely, and then your name. So here you break up your email into paragraph number 1, that is thanking him, and then paragraph number 2, inviting your teacher with a formal style. I would like to invite you too. All right. You give him more details about the time and the place. It would be in Four Seasons Hotel. This is the place. And then date and the time. The celebration would be on 15th June at 5 p.m. So remember, when you are inviting somebody, you have to give him more details about the place of the celebration, whether birthday, whether graduation, whether wedding. You have to mention the place and the date of the celebration, and then the timing, right? These are very essential when you are inviting somebody. It can be a formal invitation, it can be informal invitation. It depends on the rubric or the question, right? If you are replying to an invitation, this is another question. Write a reply. Your friend Alex has invited you to his graduation party. However, you will not be able to go. Write an email of 100 words to Alex, giving him suitable reason for not attending, and wish him a bright future. Your name is Ted. So you are writing to your friend. What style are we going to write in the email? Great job. Yes, this is informal style. Here we have a model answer. Once you are replying to invitation, so you have to start by thanking the person first, and then whether accept the invitation, whether decline or refuse the invitation, and give excuses or reasons for not attending. Here we have a model answer in which you are declining the invitation. Hello Alex, great news about your graduation. Thanks for the invitation. You have made my day with this nice surprise. And then you reply. Here you reply in the second paragraph. I'm afraid I can't come to the party as I've already made plans. I have a job interview on the same day. You know, I've been searching for a better position for 3 months. Is it okay if we meet next weekend and celebrate together? Wish you a bright future and a happy life. See you soon, yours Ted. So here, my dear students, we break up the email into 2 or 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph, thanking for the invitation. يبقى لازم هذا informal email، هذه رسالة غير رسمية لصديقك تشكره على الدعوة في البداية. And then your reply، بتديله الرد على الدعوة. Are you accepting or are you declining or refusing؟ هل أنت بتقبل الدعوة أو بترفض؟ في الحالة دي هنا نرفض الدعوة مع إبداء الأسباب. I'm afraid I can't come to the party as I've already made plans. I have a job interview on the same day. Okay, so here you give the excuses or your reasons why you are not going to go to the party. I have a job interview on the same day. on the same day, sorry. Or you can say, I have a medical appointment. I have to see the dentist. عندي موعد صحي لازم أروح للطبيب الأسنان مثلا. Okay. Or you may say that I will be away with my family in Dubai. في الوقت ده بتكون مسافر للخارج مثلا. So here you have to explain why you are not going to go. Okay, and you can give him any other time for celebrating together. Is it okay if we meet next month and celebrate together? Is it okay if we go and celebrate next weekend? So here you can try to make him happy with another arrangements, right? So this is a model answer for the informal invitation, whether by accepting or whether by refusing. Okay, so this is the email. Please be careful whether you are writing formal or informal. Right? Be careful for the body. What are you going to write about? Okay, use the appropriate style. If you are writing formal, no contractions. Start with dear. If you're writing informal, so you can use contractions as we have in the model here. Is it clear, my dear students, for the email? Okay. Now let's go to the third writing task. That is describing a process. Of course, this is a very common topic for you. You have already studied about describing a process last year and the years before. So what is a process? It is writing about the steps of how something is made or how something happens. Right? As we say, how to make a cake. Give me the process or the steps for making a cake. How to make chocolate from its fruit. How cars are manufactured, or how glass or paper is made. So all these are different variety of processes that can be given, right? Remember that when you are writing a description of a process, my dear students, you are mainly working on two key elements. That is the use of the passive and the use of sequence markers. First, then next, after that, following this finally. Let's start with the passive. We are mainly using the passive because the action is more important than the person who did the action. If you look at this sentence, engineers build a prototype for the motorbike. Here we are not interested in engineers. We are interested in a prototype. So we say a prototype is built for the motorbike. Here we change the sentence into passive voice. A prototype is built for the motorbike. Look at the second example for the passive. The prototype is tested on special roads. Changes are made to the prototype and the design is modified. So here the passive voice is in yellow. If you look carefully at this sentence, you will find that it is present simple passive. It is formed by using is or are, followed by third form of the verb, past participle. Okay, if the object is singular, so we use is. If the object is plural, so we use are. And it is followed by past participle. So when you are writing a description for a process, it is very common to use the passive voice, using is or are and third form of the verb. In addition to using the passive, as I mentioned, we also use the sequence markers. First, then next, following this, after that, and finally. All right, let's start by the layout. How to write a process or how to describe a process. We start with the first paragraph. This is the introduction in which you are mentioning what process are you going to describe. Okay. In this paragraph, you may state how many steps or stages are there in the process. Look at the example number 1. Making chocolate is a long process, but it can be divided into 5 main stages, starting with collecting the cocoa beans and ending with packaging and shipping to shops and stores. So here you give a simple introduction about your process, that is making chocolate. There is another introduction, that is the second example. The provided diagram shows the process of making paper. There are a total of 7 stages in this process described as follows. So here you are introducing the topic, or what process are you going to talk about, and you mention how many steps or stages are there in the process. Okay, this is the introduction. After writing the introduction, come to the main stages or the main steps. You describe each step involved in this process, explain the process in details. As I mentioned here in this paragraph, or in these 2 paragraphs, you use the sequence connectors. That is, to begin with comma and write the first step. Next comma and write the second step. Then and the third step. After that, 4th step. Following this, 5th step. Last step is preceded with finally. So here you are using these sequence markers. First, next, then, after that, following this, finally, or to start with or to begin with, and the first step, and so on. These are very common when you are writing a description for a process. Okay. And then we come to the conclusion. You can state how you can benefit from the process, or you can mention your suggestions. Okay, here this is a sample of conclusions. As you can see, the production of olive oil, if you are writing a process of olive oil, as you can see, the production of olive oil is a difficult process. If you follow the steps described, then you will be successful. Or you can use this other conclusion. As I have described, there are many steps involved in making a cake. By using the step-by-step approach outlined above, you can make sure of a perfect result. So here, my dear students, these are 2 samples of a conclusion. You can use any of them according to the process that you are going to describe. Everything will be clear with the following sample or example. Here we have a diagram. If you are writing about a process, you are given a diagram like this with the key steps in the process. Okay. Writing task: study the diagram carefully and write an article describing the process of making sugar. If you look carefully, my dear students, on the diagram, okay, you will find we have 7 steps or 7 stages for making sugar. The first step, growing sugar cane from 12 to 18 months. The second step, harvesting the crop. Step number 3, crushing using heavy mills. Step number 4, purifying the juice with the limestone filter. Step number 5, that is evaporation, or getting the sugar out of the water, that is evaporation, and then putting this syrup or the juice in centrifuge. هذا جهاز طرد مركزي يدور بسرعة عالية. Okay, and then here the crystals of sugar are separated from the syrup. We come to the last step, number 7, in which that is drying and cooling the sugar. You have to study the diagram carefully and then start writing your process according to the steps given. Okay, here this is a good model. Look carefully at the diagram and then we finish the steps. All right, we have the introduction. The given or the presented diagram shows or illustrates the process used for extracting sugar from sugarcane plant. The steps can be described as follows. So this is a good introduction. And then we come to describing the steps. For the process, you can write it into 2 paragraphs. You have introduction, and then you have paragraph 1 about 2 or 3 steps, and then paragraph 3 about 4 or 5 steps, the last 2 or 3 steps of the process, and then your conclusion. Now we have finished the introduction. We come to the steps of the process. The first step is to grow sugarcane, and it takes about 12 to 18 months for it to mature. After it is fully grown, it is harvested either manually or mechanically. The manual method involves farmers removing the leaves from the sugarcane, then chopping the canes, while the mechanized method uses machines to cut the cane directly. This is step number 2. Now we come to the third paragraph for the following steps of the process, from crushing to drying and cooling. The harvested cane are then crushed in mills, this is a passive, to extract the juice, which later on is purified using a limestone filter. Next, the purified juice is heated in an evaporator to remove the water and concentrates it into a syrup. Now we come to stage number 6. The syrup is then poured into a centrifuge where it is spun at high speed to separate the sugar crystal. Last step. Finally, the crystals are dried and cooled. Eventually, sugar is produced. If we look carefully at these 2 paragraphs, we will find sequence markers like next, then, eventually. We'll find passive voice like is purified, is heated, is poured, is spun, are dried and cooled, is produced. All these are present simple passive, is or are, and third form of the verb. Okay, now we come to the conclusion. This is a very common sentence that we can use when we are writing any process. As I have described, there are many steps involved in making sugar. By using the step-by-step approach outlined above, you can make sure of a perfect result. We can use this fixed conclusion with any of processes that we write. Okay, so again, we have an introduction. You are introducing the process and mention how many steps are there. And then paragraph 2 and 3, you are describing the process in details from the first step following the arrows till you go to the last step. Okay, finally you give a simple conclusion saying that by following these steps your process would be successful. Okay, my dear students. Here we have another example of a process. It is about how to make olive oil. The steps here are given on the left, but they are not in the right order. Would like to reorder the steps for making olive oil. Olive fruit is washed, olive oil is purified and filtered, olive is harvested, the olive fruit is ground using heavy mills, leaves and branches are removed, the oil is bottled in green glass, the bottles are sealed, labeled and shipped worldwide, the olive is pressed and squeezed. Would like to reorder these steps to help us write a full process article. All right, so here we give a simple introduction, right? As we say, making olive oil is a long process, but it can be described in 7 stages, for example, as follows. And then we start writing the steps as we have here. First, olive is harvested. Next, leaves and the branches are removed. Then the olive fruit is washed. After that, the fruit is ground using heavy mills. Following this, the olive is pressed and squeezed. Later, the olive oil is purified and filtered. In the end, oil is bottled in green glass. Finally, the bottles are sealed, labeled, and shipped. Okay? We don't write this in this way. We write them in paragraphs. Remember, we write the steps of the process in paragraphs. Okay? Remember that we are using sequence markers. First, next, then, after that, following this, until we come to the last step with finally. Remember that we are using passive, as I mentioned, is harvested, are removed, is pressed and squeezed, is purified and filtered. So, my dear students, when you write any process, keep in mind that we are using sequence markers and that we are using passive as well. Okay, break up your process into 2 paragraphs. We have introduction, this is in the beginning, and then the process itself in 2 paragraphs, and finally your simple conclusion. All right, is it clear, my dear students? All right, let's move to the following writing task, that is for writing topic, that is describing a chart. Describing a chart or a trend can be in different forms. It can be with a pie chart, with a bar chart, with a table, and so on. So how do we write a chart report? This is the layout. We start with an introduction in which we mention what the chart is about. And this is a kind of paraphrasing for the rubric or the question. بنعمل إعادة صياغة للسؤال من خلال إعادة الصياغة أو البارافريزنج بنكون الفقرة المقدمة. We mention what the chart is about. بنحدد الشارت اللي عندنا ده بيتكلم عن إيه أو الرسم البياني اللي عندنا ده بيتناول أي موضوع. As we say, the provided chart describes the changes in student grades between 2000 and 2015. قول مثلا الشارت ده بيتناول التغيرات في معدلات الطلاب من بين عام 2000 حتى 2015. Okay, we can say that the provided chart describes the changes in the sales of the company. تغير مبيعات الشركة between 2000 and 2015. يبقى على حسب الموضوع اللي هو بيتناوله للتشارت الرسم البياني ببتدي أحط المقدمة بتاعتي. The given graph shows the trend of using smartphones among young people during the last 10 years. For example, يبقى هنا this is the introduction. هذه بنسميها فقرة المقدمة. What the chart is about. And then we come to the main body of your writing, in which you are explaining everything in details. بتبتدي توضح لنا كل شيء بالتفصيل على الشارت، الرسم البياني اللي عندك. Describe the changes as precisely as you can or as accurately as you can using data and numbers from the chart, showing the differences, showing the similarities within the course of time. بتبتدي توضح كل شيء وتحلل كل البيانات اللي عندك على الشارت خلال عدد السنوات أو خلال المعلومات اللي هو عطيك إياها. The body break it up into 2 paragraphs. زي ما قلنا المحتوى ده خليه على فقرتين اتنين. Into 2 paragraphs, paragraph 2 and 3. And finally come to the conclusion in which you mention the key features. أهم السمات الواضحة على التشارت. وين أعلى نسبة، وين أقل نسبة، تمام؟ Or the most important remarks. أهم الملحوظات اللي موجودة عندك. Okay, contain the key features in your conclusion. Clarify the highest point and lowest point, or the most important remarks. But don't give your opinion. No need for opinions in describing a chart. You are just giving the facts in your chart. Okay, is it clear? When you are writing a chart report, you mainly use these main vocab. If you are describing a rising in trend, my dear students, we have to wait just for adhan for 2 minutes. Okay, my dear students, once again, when you are describing a chart, you mainly use certain vocab. If you are describing a rising in trend, that is a trend that's going up, so use these verbs: rise, jump, grow, climb, go up, increase, or soar. These verbs show that the trend is going up. And if you'd like to talk about the degree, you can use the adverbs sharply, rapidly, quickly, considerably, steadily, gradually, slightly, or slowly. This shows how the trend is going up. If it is a sharp rise, so we say sharply, all right, quickly, steeply. Okay. If it is a gradual rise, so we say gradually or steadily. If it is a slow rise, we say slightly or slowly. All right. If the trend is going down, so we say use the verbs fall, drop, decline, decrease, go down, plunge, or plummet. All right. If there is no change in the trend, so we can say stay steady, remain stable, stay the same. All right. So we are mainly working on these important vocabulary. They are very essential when you are describing a trend. If you are describing a trend, you can say the sales fell slightly, or the prices dropped sharply, all right? The production rose steadily. You can make a sentence using subject, verb, object, or adverb. Or you can use this way, saying there is a slight rise in the sales, or there has been a dramatic drop in the rate of sales in the company. So you can use there is, or there are, or there was, or there were, and the adjective slight, gradual, and then the noun slight rise, gradual rise, slight fall, gradual fall, and so on. So this is the way for describing a trend, using the verb and adverb, like saying dropped sharply or dropped slightly, or you can say there is a slight drop or a slight fall. Okay, here we have an example of a pie chart, and this is the question. Write a report about the chart which shows the percentage of the devices used by high school students during the online learning lessons. Okay, if you look at the pie chart, you will find that 35% of students use smartphones, 30% are using laptops, 20% of students use tablets, and only 15% are using desktop. As I mentioned, to give your introduction, you have to make a paraphrasing for the question. تعمل إعادة صياغة لرأس السؤال، من خلالها تقدر تحط مقدمة مظبوطة عن الchart. Okay, so if you would like to write an introduction about this question, look at this model and fill in gaps. This is an introduction about the question. The pie chart illustrates the percentage of devices used by high school students during online learning lessons. Results of the survey mention 4 main devices. So what are the devices on the pie chart? It is smartphones, laptops, tablets, and desktop computers. This is the introduction. And now we come to analyzing the information on the pie chart. It is clear from the pie chart that 35% of high school students prefer accessing the online lessons via smartphones, while 30% use laptops. The main reason is that both devices are portable, so they can be used indoors and outdoors. Okay, now we come to the other 2 devices. The desktop accounts for only 15% of students, while 20% go for tablet to log on the net, maybe because of its charging problems. So here we are trying to analyze the information that we can read on the pie chart. Okay, you can write this information in 1 or 2 paragraphs according to the amount of information that you see on the chart. We come to the conclusion. Overall view is that smartphones and laptops are the most popular trend to access online lessons wherever you are and at any time, thanks to the network which covers most of the country. In contrast, the minority use desktop, especially those who spend most of their time indoors. So this is a kind or a sample model for describing a chart. You can be given a question like this. All right. Write a chart report about the percentage of men and women working in 4 different jobs in 2022 in Bahrain. Okay, so here you are given this bar chart about men and women working in 4 different jobs. Working as a call center, working in the police, working as a receptionist, working in healthcare. So here you are using the rubric or the question and write your introduction. All right. As we say, the provided bar chart gives information about men and women who are working in 4 different jobs. In call center, between brackets, in call center, comma, police, comma, reception, and healthcare. In Bahrain during the year of 2022, right? This is your introduction. And then you start analyzing the information about both genders, men and women, for call center. You say that starting with call center job, it is clear that men form about 65%, which is nearly the double for women, which is only 35%. As for people who are working in the police, you are mentioning the percentage for men at a very high rate that reach about 20% to 80%, but for women it is only 20%. And then you go for the other 2 jobs. Okay, so you analyze the key information that you find on the chart to write your report. Is it clear, my dear students? So the introduction, you are paraphrasing the question, and then the body, you are explaining everything in details on the chart, and later on you write a simple conclusion with the highest trend and lowest trend for men and women. Okay, now we come to module 11, which is about writing a festival report. For writing a festival report, okay, you write a report on one of the very common festivals in the country, like Bahrain First Festival, like National Day Festival, Formula One Festival, Graduation Festival. So you write a report on any festival in the country, Bahrain. Okay, this is the report that you have in the book. Okay, you have to read the paragraphs and match it with the heading given on the right. Report on Children's Festival. What is the first paragraph about? Yes, the first paragraph is the introduction. It is giving the overall impression about the festival. It was highly successful. How many people were in the festival? Attracting over 50,000 people. The weather condition trained heavily on the first day. And your impression about the performers, they were excellent, and so on. So here, this is an introduction with an overall impression. For the second paragraph, you are talking about the attendees. Who are the audience, people attending? What age group are they? أي فئة عمرية حضرت للمهرجان ده؟ Are they adults؟ هل هم من فئة الكبار يعني؟ Are they children? So you give enough information about the attendees or the audience. The people attending were mainly families. There were people of all ages and a large number from the various ethnic groups. The acts appealing to children were particularly popular. So here you talk about the audience. Families with their young children, adults. You talk about people from different nationalities attending, so these are the audience. And then you talk about paragraph. Yeah, yes, I hear you.
ما فهمت.
ايه اسمع مني تاني. الحين الموضوع اللي نتكلم عنه الحين this is festival report. festival report مقصود به مهرجان، بتكتب تقرير عن مهرجان انت حضرته قبل، فبتكتب تقرير عن محتوى المهرجان وايش اللي صار في المهرجان. تمام معايا؟ فبنسميه ايه؟ report on festival، تقرير عن مهرجان. اوكي. when you are writing a report on festival، لما بتكتب تقرير عن مهرجان you write some key paragraphs، يعني بيكون عندك فقرات رئيسية معينة لازم تتكلم عنها. paragraph number 1 الفقرة الأولى this is introduction، بتكون فقرة مقدمة بتعطي فيها انطباعك عن المهرجان اللي انت رحته ده. it was highly successful، المهرجان ده كان ناجح جدا. attracting over 50,000 people، يعني جذب ما يعادل 50,000 شخص حضروا المهرجان. the weather conditions، أحوال الطقس في هاليوم. so you give an overall impression، يبقى بتدي انطباع كامل عن المهرجان. الفقرة الثانية في التقرير عن المهرجان you talk about the audience، تتكلم عن الحضور، مين الناس اللي حضروا. who are the attendees، people attending، الناس اللي حضروا. you can talk about families، أسر كاملة بتحضر. تمام. young people، فئة الشباب. تمام. people from different nationalities، ناس من جنسيات مختلفة، فدي بنسميها audience. في المهرجانات في بعض الشوز، العروض، هذه بنسميها performers. نتكلم عن العروض اللي قدمت في خلال المهرجان. comedians، الأشخاص اللي هم المهرجين اللي بيقدموا بعض الفقرات. الممثلين، المغنيين بعد. so these are what we call performers. paragraph number 3 there were mainly comedians, children entertainers. okay. performance from giving some acts and some shows. so here this is paragraph number 3. following this you can talk about refreshments. these are food and drinks، يعني نتكلم عن الأطعمة والمشروبات اللي قدمت في هالمهرجان. there were many outlets offering hot and cold drinks, offering some snacks and some tasty dishes, offering traditional Bahraini sweets. so here you talk about refreshments, food and drinks, and so on. following this you come to conclusion, in which you are giving the impression of people attending and the impression of sponsors. في الخاتمة دي بتعطي انطباع الناس الحضور عن المهرجان، وبتعطي انطباع الممولين، الجهة الممولة للمهرجان. The festival gave great pleasure to a large number of people. The sponsors were very pleased with the organization of the festival. Most of them wanted to participate in the next year festival. so here this is the impression of people attending and the impression of the sponsors. okay. last paragraph these are your recommendations. الفقرة الأخيرة هي توصياتك أو المقترحات اللي عندك. إيه المقترحات عشان نخلي المهرجان ده أفضل العام القادم. so what are your recommendations to make this festival better next year. and for the recommendations you write them in bullets or in points. بالنسبة للتوصيات أو المقترحات بتكون على هيئة نقاط. يبقى إذن عندنا subheading عناوين فرعية introduction, audience, performers, refreshment, conclusion and recommendations. لازم العناوين الفرعية نكتبها. بالنسبة للrecommendations المقترحات لازم تبقى على هيئة نقاط. okay. ways for reducing crowds should be considered. more signs need to be provided. Okay, special access for mothers with young children could be arranged. It is vital to hire more security staff. So all these are kind of recommendations. هذه فقرة المقترحات حتى يكون المهرجان أفضل العام القادم. Okay, so this is a sample for the one in the book. Here we have another model for a festival report. نموذج آخر لمهرجان. It is about بحرين first. هنا بنتكلم تاني باستفاضة عن اللي out. How to write a festival report. Again, we start with an introduction. يبقى عندنا عنوان فرعي introduction. It is your overall impression. How many people attended, the weather conditions, and the performers. Look at the first paragraph, the introduction. Overall, Bahrain First Festival was highly successful, attracting over 7,000 students and 200 teachers. The weather was good and sunny all day. Most of the performers were excellent, well-trained students. They were admired by the public. So this is your introduction about the festival report. After your introduction, you start talking about the audience. The audience, these are people who attended. Give information about people who attended the festival, their age group, whether they are children, teenagers, adults, and families. So the audience for Bahrain First Festival. People attending Bahrain First Festival were mainly His Majesty King Ahmad and the royal family, the Minister of Education, as well as students from different stages, primary, preparatory, and secondary stage, in addition to the teachers. These are the audience for Bahrain First Festival. And then we come to the paragraph of performers. الناس اللي بتقدم فقرات في المهرجان. People who give shows, people who make speeches, and the comedy sketches and singing and so on. The majority of performers were students giving shows, singing national songs and dancing. There were acts by Bahraini comedians and the supporting speech by His Majesty King Ahmad, which praised the efforts and achievements made by the Ministry of Education and students for the progress Bahrain. So here this is about the people who are making speeches or giving shows and so on. We come to paragraph about conclusion. You write about the impression of people about the festival. Bahrain First Festival gave a great pleasure to a large number of people, and it promoted the spirit of citizenship among students and families. In general, the sponsors were very pleased with the organization of the festival. Most of them wanted to take part in the next year's festival. There is a paragraph about refreshments, food and drinks. You can talk about that there were many outlets offering juice and drinks and a takeaway meal for most students. Okay, this is the paragraph about refreshments. And we come to the conclusion. This is your recommendations. What would you recommend for the festival to be better next year? As we mentioned, recommendations should be in points. قلنا recommendations لازم تبقى على هيئة نقاط. There should be solution to reduce crowds in such popular events. حلول لتقليل الازدحام مثلا. Okay, it's important to have more security officers. There should be medical emergency unit in big festivals. لازم وحدات طوارئ طبية تكون في المهرجانات الكبيرة. Okay, it is necessary to hire more buses for students to take them home. So these are recommendations for Bahrain First. You can make different recommendations if you talk about graduation festival, if you talk about National Day festival. So it differs according to the kind of celebration. Remember, when you are writing a festival report, you should write subheading. لازم يكون في عناوين فرعية حق الفيستيفال ريبورت. عنوان فرعي introduction وتكتب المقدمة. عنوان فرعي audience اللي هم الحضور، من اللي بيحضر، وتكتب فقرة عن people who are attending. And then subheading عنوان فرعي آخر about performers الأشخاص اللي بيقدموا عروض في المهرجان. Another subheading about food and refreshments. A subheading about recommendations وفقرة عن المقترحات، والمقترحات قلنا على هيئة إيه؟ نقاط. It's very important to follow this layout. مهم جدا ترتبط بالlayout وتمشي عليه. Now we come to the last paragraph, the last writing topic, because running out of time. So we come here to the last writing topic for module 12. That is cause and effect essay. Cause and effect essay, this is a very important writing task. هذا من أحد المواضيع المهمة للغاية. Cause and effect. بتكتب مقال كامل عن cause and effect. يعني إيه cause and effect؟ يعني موضوع يتناول. أيوة.
يصير تطرش علي.
إن شاء الله الموضوع بيكون مسجل، وبعد كده ممكن إن أنت تفتح وتطلع الإيه.
يعني نفس اللي طرشت عليه أستاذ في الامتحان الشهري عشان نقدر نركز، لأن أنا أروح أستاذ خصوصي.
لا، الموضوع كامل كده إن شاء الله بيكون مسجل، وبعد كده بتقدر إنك تشوف الإيه مواضيع الرايتنج كاملة، ولو في شيء تواصل معايا.
أبشر أستاذ إن شاء الله، باجي لك بكرة أستاذ للمكتب.
توفيق إن شاء الله. أوكي.
يلا.
Cause and effect essay, my dear students. This is the last writing task. Cause and effect essay. قلنا cause and effect essay هو مقال بيتناول أسباب وتأثيرات. It can be about environmental problems. ممكن يتناول فيه موضوعات بيئية like pollution زي موضوع التلوث. What are the causes؟ شنو الأسباب التلوث؟ And what are the effects؟ وإيه التأثيرات الناتجة عن التلوث؟ Cause and effect essay. It can be about social problems. ممكن يتناول موضوعات اجتماعية like talking about bullying among students اللي هو التنمر بين الطلاب مثلا. What are the causes of bullying? What are the effects of bullying? Okay. It can be about smoking among students. What are the causes and what are the effects? It can about as we say society problems like immigration. What are the causes of immigration? شنو أسباب الهجرة immigration, and what are the effects of immigration? So cause and effect essay can be about many topics. How to write cause and effect essay? To write cause and effect essay, so it is an essay which is talking about the causes for something to happen and what are the consequences or the effects. عشان أكتب cause and effect essay, we start with an introduction, introduce your topic, include the main idea, which may focus on one of the effects or one of the causes. If we talk about fast food, for example, this is a good introduction about fast food. Food is an important part of any culture and society around the globe. Until the last century, most people used to eat fresh, home-cooked food. But nowadays, we see that people prefer to eat fast food, such as pizza, hamburgers, or fried chicken. The popularity of fast food restaurants has increased internationally. There are many reasons why fast food became popular, even though it has some serious effects on people and society. يبقى هنا بنعرض إلى مشكلة أو ظاهرة الفاست فود، الطعام السريع والوجبات السريعة، في فقرة المقدمة. And then we come to the causes. Why people are eating fast food. You start with the main cause, and then you come to describe any other causes. تعرض الأسباب. what are the causes for the spread of fast food? The basic question is what has made fast food so popular recently? One answer would be the change of lifestyle in contrast to the past. It pushes workers or people to eat fast food than cook food themselves. Another cause for fast food usage can be a long time working hours, which may lead people to eat outside their homes. There are many fast food businesses, such as McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, etc. Furthermore, there are a lot of advertisement and promotions for those restaurants, and it is easily available in your hands. So here we are talking about the causes, that people are very busy and working for long hours. There is a change in lifestyle, and most women now are working and don't have time for cooking. And there are a widespread of fast food restaurants. So these are the causes for people to go for eating fast food. Now we come to the effects, the consequences. الفقرة التالية الثالثة بتتكلم عن التأثيرات. What are the effects of having fast food? The major effect that fast food has on human beings is that it can get your health in danger status. First, we must say that fast food can cause vitamin deficiencies that may in turn help to cause diseases. Another serious effect is obesity as one of the consequences of fast food on the human body. يبقى قلنا التأثير الأول اللي هو قصور في الفيتامينات في الجسم. تاني شيء الأوبستي اللي هي السمنة، انتشار السمنة بين الشباب والأشخاص يعني. Obesity comes because of fast food is rich in fats. Okay, so people will become less healthy, less active, and less productive. In addition, the loss of the family tradition of eating together. بالإضافة لذلك أن في تغير في العادات والتقاليد. Instead of family gathering on food, are just having meals separately outside the house. The family used to eat together, and thus they had the opportunity to talk with each other for daily problems. But with the fast food, they do not have this family gathering. We come to the last paragraph, that is the conclusion, in which you can give the possible solutions for the problem. نتكلم فيها عن الحلول الممكنة للمشكلة, or just write a short summary. It can be said that fast food has been born out of the modern lifestyle in the societies. Unfortunately, the effects it has on the human body and health are not positive. It also has other negative effects on the income of the family. It would be best if people avoid fast food as much as they can. They have to eat healthy, fresh, home-cooked meals. It would be better for their health and for the young children. So this is a good conclusion for the topic of cause and effect essay. Again for the layout, نرجع تاني لللاyout لما كنت شغال على cause and effect essay. You have to start with an introduction stating that this topic is a serious issue that concerns a lot of people nowadays. It has an impact on our life, and it is one of the global problems that the world faces nowadays. And then you come to paragraph number 2, writing the causes. تتكلم عن الأسباب. What are the causes of fast food? What are the causes of the problem? شنو الأسباب اللي هي أدت لانتشار هذه الظاهرة? First, moreover, in addition, using this linking. And you come to paragraph 3 about the effects. On the other hand, there are many threatening effects for this problem. If we are talking about global warming, if we are talking about air pollution, if we are talking about immigration, التأثيرات مال الهجرة. So here we are talking about its effects. first of all, and the first effect. Furthermore, it leads to, and the second effect. Also, and another effect for the problem. And then we come to a conclusion that it is a serious problem that needs a lot of cooperation between the government and the citizens to overcome it and to reach a wise solution for the problem. So you have to follow this layout when you are writing cause and effect essay. An introduction stating that this is a serious issue, concerns people, and it is a global problem nowadays. Right? Paragraph 2 about the causes, paragraph 3 about the effects, and finally you come to the conclusion. Okay, my dear students, you have to follow this layout when you are writing cause and effect essay. Okay, is it clear? Now we have covered all the writing topics for eng202, starting with writing a product report comparing between two products like smart TVs or smartphones or laptops and so on. And then we move to talking about the second topic, that is email, formal and informal email. And please concentrate more on invitation, formal and informal invitation, and its reply, whether accepting or refusing. And third topic, that is writing, describing a process, how to make chocolate, how to make coffee, and how to make olive oil, and so on. These are different kinds of processes. Then we come to the fourth writing topic, that is writing festival report on festival, Bahrain First Festival, National Day, Graduation Festival, writing about a chart, describing a chart. Okay, and finally the last topic, that is cause and effect essay. Okay, keep an eye on the time when you are working on your final exam. Right, try to finish on time. Right, for the reading, try to finish quicker and take enough time for the writing. Make a paragraphing for your writing. Keep an eye on the spelling, punctuation, capitalization for the beginning of the sentence, ending the sentence with full stop. All these should be in mind when you are writing. And I wish you all the best of luck with your final exam. Right, my dear students, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all the best of luck.